So, morning everyone, and thank you AFAX, thank you Shrikant for having us here. When Shrikant told me that we are going to do a session and you have to give an overview about what happened in the past, I was like, it does not sound exciting. First, people will think I'm really old because I have not lived through all those dinosaur ages. I was not born in 96, but close. And second was you've invited every publisher partner that we have in the market. So if I show some data where somebody looks down or up, you're going to have a fist fight right there. But yeah, he had a point. I think it's very important to see where we've come from, and that in some ways gives us a direction of where we are headed. So that's my attempt at it, where we've come from. It's literally starting from the journey when I joined Comscore back in 2010. We literally had about close to 40 million internet users. Today, that number stands at around 230 million. That's our own Comscore definition of certain demographics and so on. Although the graph is just going up and down, there are multiple things that have happened during this period. The ad ecosystem, the underlying ad ecosystem has changed multiple ways. Ad exchanges, ad networks, SSPs, DSPs, 1,000 things have happened. At the other end of the spectrum, a content publisher continues to thrive, continues to stay afloat, although there are some categories which have lost. And that's what we're going to talk about. Back in 2010 or slightly earlier, I think most of the catalysts, by definition of catalysts here, I'm referring to sites or categories which got new users to the internet in India or had users which had sustained engagement over the couple of years. So for example, classifieds. Back in the day when somebody wanted to get married, they had to come online because they had to create an account on Shaadi.com. Or if they wanted a job, that's when they first created an online web account. Portals, and yes, portals were those sites which had one central landing page, which would be the first website that you open. And there were many, Yahoo, MSN, Rediff, and so on. I think at that time, the reach of portals was synonymous to the internet usage itself. So if a portal, all portals reached 40 million of the total internet users itself. So some or the other, somebody was visiting at least one portal in their daily lives. This is what happened to portals eventually. Portals were, in my view, nothing other than a new or a different form of distribution of news, entertainment, and sports content. Then there was a wave of retail, which got in a lot of new users, and I'm talking mostly about 2014. These are not the times when these companies started, but these are the times when they actually got incremental users to the internet. This was the time when retail actually, went mass media, and there were tons of people watching the Billions Day that Flipkart had, and got in a lot of users online just to see what can I buy for a cheaper price. What we live in today is the age of Game of Thrones or Narcos or Hotstar. I've also put Paytm in the entertainment category, preemptively assuming that they'll get in the entertainment space. But yeah, these are the two true leaders who have actually got a lot more newer users to the internet in the recent 6 months, or if I look at even last 8 to 12 months. Aggregators have also played a large part, and when I say aggregators, I'm not just limiting myself to Daily Hunt, UCWeb, and news aggregators, but newer forms of aggregation, newer forms of distribution, which is Facebook instant articles or Google AMP pages, technology or product changes that have brought in Facebook Lite and so on. So this is the overall spectrum of what happened in the last 7 years, and I want to talk more specifically about the web publishing business from here on. So news has been the most transformative, it's the most pivotal category in India's internet as well as the offline content. I think Indians love to read news. If we look at probably one of the very few markets where print continues to grow just because people love to read news. Jerry Seinfeld once said that it's so funny that every day there is exactly enough amount of news that gets created that it fits the newspaper the next day. But that's never the case. That's not the case for sure in the internet space. So I've tried and divided this whole news evolution into 4 categories, or 4 stages rather. The beginning was, as I said earlier, enablers, where every national or regional daily had a website, and they were exactly converting all the offline news into online news. There was nothing additional, there was no separate news desk, there was no additional sales team. The KRA of that team was to just be digitally present. The engagement time was really low, it was less than a minute per day per user. Then came the time when news online started becoming an independent business. By independent business, I mean that there were a lot of event-based content creation that happened. There was budget, sports, entertainment that got created specifically as a new format of content online. Money Control led that on the budget front. There were many other players who tried to do, covering cricket matches and sports, ESPN, Cricinfo, and so on. I think towards the early 2015, news has become less of the news that we see in the day-to-day world in newspaper and business news. The lines are getting blurred. I'm not saying that back in 2015 people would use somebody's Instagram picture and create a news item out of that. But yes, the lines blurred in the sense that people were reviewing cars as a part of a news site. They were writing health articles, they were writing things that they have never written in the newspaper or on a television news series. So there was a lot of coverage that went beyond the regular news desk. It was more about social news, and that's where social media also played a large part on distributing this social news. I think the last stage, or the last 1.5 years, has purely been about distribution. Back in the day, I remember NDTV was one of our publisher partners who crossed 5 million unique visitors in the year of 2010. I remember that, and the person there said that, Kedar, let's do a PR because, I think 5 million is a substantial number when I compare to any newspaper circulation or readership at that time. That was absolutely right. Today, each of these top 5 news sites reach over 50 million internet users every month. If they were present in any country exactly the same way, they would still be in the top 10 of whether it's in the US, China, or any other market in the news category. The aggregators, especially Facebook Instant Articles, Daily Hunt, UC Web, you call, whether it's a technology product, browser, extension, they've all helped in disseminating news way better than what the news publishers could do themselves. I think the last 25 million growth that I see in India is mostly from publishers who are born digital. They never had an association or an affiliation with an offline news player. Witifeed, Scroll, Quint, there are many such examples. And I think they're writing such content which is very different and hence is definitely getting a lot of people excited, or bringing them online or bringing them to the news category. So that's pretty much the evolution of news that we saw. News is my favorite category because I think in India, it's one of the most well-graded categories. You have publishers like Times of India, India Today, Indian Express, who are above 50 million. You have publishers between 40 and 50 million, and all ranges and all formats, all kinds of content. Other categories are not so well graded. Although entertainment, I would say, is again one of the most engaging or leading categories in India. Entertainment, although the number of, or the consumption or the reach of entertainment category remains high or among the top 2 categories, the underlying content that people were consuming has changed massively. I'll give you an example. Between 2010 and 2013, most of the content that people consumed on YouTube was Bollywood. And today, if you look at the content that gets consumed more digitally on video, is television content. It's not the movie content. It's a lot of sports, it's a lot of television, what a regular television would produce, streaming content and so on. The numbers are staggering. So entertainment at that time was 26 million in 2010, that's the reach, and it today reaches about 180 million people. Technology is another category which, of course, because of the mobile prices, comparison, reviews, information flowing around, that has gone up significantly. That's about 137 million people every month visit a technology news, technology site. Business, finance, lifestyle, sports, and automotive are slightly less engaging, I would say. Sports here, like Hotstar, for example, beaming a match gets classified under entertainment right now for last 2 months because they've shut down their Star Sports app, but earlier it would fall under sports. But even in those months, they didn't cross a 60 million barrier every month. What's most exciting is the time spent. The engagement is massive in entertainment. It's 500 minutes per user per month. That's insane compared to many other countries, developed markets, which have internet, of course, not free internet, but which have good, decent internet connection. Technology is also very well engaged. So these are two publisher categories which are high on scale, comparable to any television, print, or any other medium, as well as engaging. Talking about entertainment and video, of course, with various formats of cheaper devices and cheaper internet, video is the first category that people prefer to access. But the stark difference in India is that as you go from younger audiences to older audiences, on the left, you see that fewer videos get watched. So younger audiences watch more videos every month. And if you see the right-hand side, younger audiences watch shorter videos, whereas older audiences watch longer videos. So if there is ever a dilemma that anybody has, should I produce long-form content or short-form content, that will never be resolved. Because you will have all kinds of user accessing all kinds of content. Whether it is monetized, I think today video is a smarter, far better platform as a web publisher, because there is certain respect that you can walk into an agency or an advertiser meeting and get a respectable CPM and walk out, which may not be true for many other categories. So it's a great enabler, I think, which would help in embracing or improving the ad rates that we have in the market. I want to talk a little bit about the shift that we are seeing on desktop versus mobile. And you might have seen a lot of data from us on this side. But this is extremely unique, and I want to make that point through a couple of next few slides, right? If you see, this slide basically shows a quadrant of amount of time people spend or amount of unique visitors on the particular category on mobile compared to their desktop equivalent. So for example, when I say social networking is almost 600% minutes, that's like people are spending 6x the time on mobile compared to desktop on that category. So the green ones are predominantly mobile, what we used to call till last month mobile first. So most of these categories in India are mobile first, which means that they do access on desktop as well, but they get the same amount of reach, or there is a huge overlap between desktop and mobile users. The ones in purple are the categories which haven't really gone down that route yet, but I'm sure they will get there very soon. If you look at the web publishing categories, as you move from the left to the right, you will see that this is the percentage of time spent in each category on a mobile device. So entertainment, almost 81% of the total time spent is on a mobile device. Only 19% is on a desktop device. And time is additive, right? It's not an overlap, it's an additive measure. Sports is 88%. People love to watch a cricket match or read about a scoreboard on a mobile device. What this leads us to believe, it's not just, that's what I said, till last month it was mobile first, but more and more we look at this data, India is turning out to be a mobile-only audience nation. And I'll talk about this a little more. This is where we stand in terms of our present status. We compared mobile-only audiences across many markets, and India is like right at the bottom there. 70% of the users every month are mobile only. They do not use any other device to access the internet. Whether they're accessing Facebook, banking, anything else, that's the highest in the world. Even Indonesia doesn't come closer. Indonesia is about 67%. It's not just the reach, even the time spent on mobile across all categories is 86%. I'm not very sure how many web publishers are thinking a mobile-only business today compared to yesterday. It's turning out that you don't need a mobile-first strategy, you need a mobile-only strategy. There's absolutely no doubt about that. In the current scenario, India's always been skewed towards a male audience as a demographic. We always had a 60-65% male demographic. And when we look at other markets where the new internet users are getting activated, there is a high likelihood that that internet user is a female and is using a mobile device. But in India, it's going to be a male again using a mobile device. So more male-dominated demographics will show up in the coming years. Talking a little bit about, so the earlier slides, the data that I'm presenting is more about consumption. Here, this is more about the data volume itself, the amount of bytes, petabytes, gigabytes that get transferred on a mobile device versus PC device. And if you see on the left-hand side, between 2014 to 2017, almost 60-70% of the data that we're consuming is on a mobile device. So all those things about, and this shift is almost like 2% every month because of geo and many such factors. If we look at the OEMs, this is not the market share of all the OEMs, this is the market share of all the OEMs which are internet connected. So all devices which are internet connected, Samsung has almost a 30% share in that. Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, they do show up in the top 10, most of them, cheaper handsets. A lot has been talked about the geo effect, a lot has been talked about free internet. I'm not sure, I just want to take a count, a show of hands of how many people have a geo connection here. Not too many, so do you not like free internet, or it's just beneath your dignity to buy free internet? So I'll show you a slide. 55% of the wireless traffic in the month of June and July was on Reliance Jio. It doesn't mean that the number of users they have is significantly higher. It just means that the users they already have are consuming huge amount of data. They know how to do a WhatsApp forward, they know how to watch a Facebook or a YouTube video, and that's enough to skew the entire traffic in their behalf. So it has a lot of fundamental, it shakes your belief system a lot, especially because if there's a free user who's accessing the internet and we all here are trying to make a business out of them by selling them advertising, it's going to be damn difficult. Or second is that, not everybody, even though it's free internet, not everybody has the internet connection. So is the user lazy or are they less curious? I don't know. But I think it's just the early days. People are still figuring out how to maximize their free internet. And in the next coming months, you'll see a huge inflection of consumption that will show up. So what's the way ahead? We published this burning issues globally for most of the digital businesses. But I want to talk about three issues. And one is, because we are now starting to become mobile only, most web publishers are going to say, how do I improve the monetization for mobile devices or mobile users? That's not just a question they're asking today, but they will be resoundingly asking that tomorrow, day after, and so on. The challenge is, it's the advertiser who does not have the confidence on the way people are advertising or offering advertisements on mobile. I think there hasn't been enough work done by publishers as a group or individuals to show them that it's the same audience who is accessing my content, the same demographic who's accessing my content on a desktop versus a mobile device. Just because an ad is bigger or smaller or a different shape or size, it doesn't mean that you're not doing a brand building the mobile platform. A lot of work needs to go there. I think measurement needs to improve, and that's on us to improve that overall numbers for most of the publishers. In fact, in February, we launched something called as multi-platform, where we are reporting an overlap for any digital entity across desktop and mobile. So there is one number that a media planner can look at and not say that this is mobile only or desktop only website. The second is about advanced audience data. The reason I use the word advanced is it's not just plain simple demographics, it's not just their device maps and so on. It's all about what media buyers are going to use in an industry where the usage crosses 300, 400 million internet users, data will be the juice, milk, oil, whatever you call it, it is and it will be even more so. Most importantly, this is the demographic that we have activated on the internet today. So if you look at 2010, between the age of 15 to 24, there were 4 million females and 11 million males, which by 2017 became 23 million and 50 million respectively. This is what India's demographic would look like in 2020. That means there are so many people who are yet to be activated online, which means that every web publisher will have a chance to own that audience data as they get activated online. That chance or that fight will not be limited to a Facebook or Google because these users haven't come online yet. So everybody has an equal opportunity to own this audience data and hence maximize it or monetize it. Lastly, measuring unduplicated audiences or measuring across devices, I think the distribution is going to be a funny game. And I think Indian web publishers are extremely good at managing distribution. If there is any new distribution platform comes up which adds 10 million unique visitors, I can tell you that all 20, 50 publishers are right there, asking to distribute their content. The challenge is, how do you have a common number? It's easy to give your content to somebody and get it distributed. But if you're not adding a measurement reach factor to it, all that distribution is going to be of no use. This is going to be a catch-up game. The onus is going to be on the publisher to have one common number. Doesn't matter where they distribute their content. Otherwise, they will, I think, get reduced to just being a content desk rather than being a web publisher. So I hope I am not making it sound very gloomy or serious, but this is the headroom to grow. If you look at the engagement, even though all of us watch so many WhatsApp forwards, videos, XYZ, still the engagement is less than 1.5 hours per person per day. And it can easily go up to 3 or 4 hours a day per person. So there's a huge headroom to grow for content for web publishers and hence a huge possibility to monetize better. Thank you. Thank you so much.